All right, Kevin, what's up, man? Good to have you on the Zoom show.
Glad to be
And
here.
just going to go over a few things with your car. Yeah, man. So you got a 73 hatchback, and I know quite a bit more about it, but I'm going to kind of let you take the ball and run with it because you obviously know a lot more about your car than the rest of us.
All right, you guys, my name is Kevin Hansbrough, and I am from Las Vegas, Nevada. Got a 73 hatchback Nova that I've had for 10 years now. It's been a stressful, ongoing process. And you guys will know, too. You guys are Nova owners as well. Man, where do I start with this? So many mixed feelings and emotions when it comes to this car. So many nights of banging knuckles up against stuff. And, it's just, we've all been through it. I have a 383 small block. Nothing too crazy. And we flip the camera. So it's just I can drive it daily, but this is my 4 times a week street car right here. Dart high-rise intake. I got a Holly 850 carb HP. I got stainless steel headers from a ceramic coated headers from Summit. And when it comes to the transmission, I have a 350 manual valve body.
Okay.
3-inch Borla exhaust all the way, dumped in front of the axles. And the Borla mufflers, I don't know if you guys like Borla, but Borla is very good quality. I love the way they sound. Here's a little bit of it. The car's been done like this, as you see it, since 2010. Pinstriping and everything. The company that I had paint the car actually went out of business. But, it's a lot of repairs I need to do. When it comes to the wheels, I went 275, 30-20 in the rear, and I went 245, 30-20 up front. And I didn't have to cut anything. I didn't have to cut too much, anything, because I wanted to go the widest I could go without having to, do modifications, because it's a street car. I'm going to drive it, often. Here's the interior. Grand steering wheel.
Pelican skin.
Winner's Performance Sidewinder shifter right there. Everything's pretty. I still wanted to give it that 73 feel, just with a little more of a modern look back then. And people don't really get to see it until they kind of bend down and look inside and see the Burberry up top. I put the Brom racing seats in this year. Let me get a little bit of the back action for you guys. Views from the hatch.
So what kind of system you have hooked up in there?
Just a baby 10. I just got a 110 in Orion. It's pushing 2,500 watts. It doesn't take a lot to get this car to sound nice,
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, Orion's a good setup anyway. They make a great speaker, especially with the subs.
So my thing with this car, it's been down for about 4, almost 5 years. And to show you guys the dedication, when Corona hit, I went to the DMV Friday and I waited there all night until 8 Saturday morning when they opened.
Dang.
I had to get it back on the road. So I pulled an all-nighter. I had brought my lawn chair with me, and I was just watching car videos, and I see a guy walk up, and I'm like, oh, crap, I've been here since 11. I've been here since 11, and now I'm going to be the second person. But, it was worth it, though. To have her back on the road, it was definitely worth it.
Heck yeah, man. Love that pinstriping on there. It looks great. So now with the hatchback, are those 6x9s back there? Is that the stock location, or did you have to do something? Did you have to put panels in, or is that basically where they are? Or because obviously I don't own the hatchback, but
yeah, it's the stock location. I just cut into the stock location here just to get the 6x9s back here, and I put the amp right behind the back seat. And I put 6.5s up front and a Pioneer deck. Gotta have music when you're on the road, especially in this Vegas heat, So I don't know if you guys can kind of see underneath. Is it clear to you guys?
Yep.
Okay, so yeah, nothing too crazy. I still have a stock 10-bolt rear end as of right now. Thinking about going quick performance. So it's like, more upgrades to come, and then I can finally sit the car down the way I would like it, to be in the rear. But as of right now, I can't complain. She's up running, she's healthy, and I'm happy.
Yep. I've been seeing a lot of your pictures on Instagram, people coming up. I mean, I have it all the time. I know a lot of people also do the same thing. What is one thing that pops out to people with your car?
The seats to the wheels, because people look at the wheels and automatically they assumed I got a mini tub. But I'm dedicated to it being a street car. I wanted to go the widest, and that's an HRE wheel too, by the way. So I wanted to go the widest that I can go without having to cut anything as of right now, So when I do get my rear end, I'll get it shortened a couple inches. That way, if the tire goes in, I can kind of kick it back out somewhat.
Yeah, it's really nice looking tire. I love the way it looks in there, to be honest, especially that black on red, man. That looks really good. When you had it done, I mean, how long did it take for the paint job and everything to get done, and also the interior? Were you sitting on that a while or what?
The only extended amount of time that I had to put up with is when I dropped the car off, and an older cousin of mine, he knew the guys. They're called All Star or All Pro, and they were on the corner, if you guys know, out here. It's kind of close to Chinatown out here in Las Vegas. And it had been about, I want to say, a month, and I would go by to have sushi or something, just kind of check on it. And my car was sitting out for advertisement. And I'm like, okay, if it's sitting out for advertisement to, bring people in, I feel like the car's done. It took about like almost 2 months. And that's for paint, interior. Like they were on it. Like they were really on it back then.
So talk to me. I mean, any future plans of it going anywhere? Or, I mean, I know the answer to this question, but I asked everybody. So is it going to be staying in the family? Like what's the future for it? Like what's your plan and everything?
With this car, this is it for me. When it comes to Novas, I'm gonna have other Novas down the road, but when it comes to this is my everything. At one point, this car was my everyday car for 3 years straight. So when we've been through, like I said, we've been through everything together: rain, snow, the occasional snow that we get out here in Vegas, monsoon season, you know what I mean? But 95% of the time it's been garage kept. That other 5%, I was at my dad's house building a relationship with him. So I kind of, it kind of sat outside. But other than that, she's garage kept. And I plan on moving forward with it. It's crazy because, when you have something and you've been looking at it for so long, you kind of become numb to the way it looks. But since a lot more people have been noticing the car, they've been seeing it for the first time, they're like, dude, people from, the States to Australia, they're like, dude, like, I love that plaid. Like the whole concept, the car, the way it came together. I'm like, I'm tired of looking at this red. I've been, 10 years, you kind of like, yeah, let's go for something new now. So her name is Burberry, and that's why I did actually have them put that in the quarter panel right there. And its funny story is I was kind of sitting up, and the concept kind of came from this movie called Johnson's Family Vacation. Now they had a Navigator that they got from a dealership, and they had Burberry interior inside of the Navigator. And I was just like, oh my goodness, okay. I haven't seen Burberry in a car back then. So I'm like, I think I might want to kind of, try to do my homework and be the first person, with it. But I guess it's timeless because it's plaid, and that plaid look kind of just doesn't get old because it has that old school feel to it, And like I said, I kind of wanted to keep this car feeling like a 73 inside, Future plans with it, I do plan on going brandy wine, candy brandy wine. I'm stuck between this. It's a Mazda color, and it's another color I'll share in the actual post, but it's gorgeous. But, and, I might have to, go from Burberry to Brandy. Her name would be Brandy at that point. But the other secret name that I came up with this year too was Fashion Nova, just like the clothing. So it just kind of fit. Fashion Nova, the Burberry interior, it just kind of went. So either people that, since I kind of rebirthed it kind of, so people either bring fashion to the car meet, this weekend, or, bring Burberry. So, between the two. But
nice.
As far as the motor goes, I had my 350 for 10 years, and I sold it towards the end of last year in December. I got a really, really, really good deal on this 383, and I got a manual valve, a 350 manual valve body for it. I don't know how to drive stick, so this is the closest thing I got to it, you know. But I
Yeah,
do
you
plan on
just
upgrading to a 406, you know, throwing a set of
yeah,
AFRs on it, 227s. Of course, I'm gonna have to go with another transmission for more power, and
yep.
maybe, you know. So I'm trying to make every move with this car count. You know,
You could
every
definitely
move has to be like a game of chess, you know, to kind
yeah.
of set yourself up. Because when you get stuck at a certain point, you want more. And you know, with these money pits, they get very, very addicting. I don't drink, I don't smoke, but I think this is worse than both of those, honestly.
Take it back up to the front and show us those bumpers real quick, because not too many people have the full that. A lot of people are going to the tuck bumpers and stuff like that.
Yeah. I kept the hit me if you want tos, I call them, on here and in the rear. They're hard to come by. I still kept everything pretty much original.
Nice.
Everything from the grill, and what another thing, the thing I fell in love with this car when I first seen it, I bought it from an older gentleman for $1,000, and he asked me, he said, "What are you gonna do with this car?" And before I answered him, I thought about it for a second, and I said, to be completely honest with you, I'm gonna just drive it like they did in '73. And I guess he liked the answer somewhat. He said, "Had you said anything else, I probably wouldn't have sold it to you." You know, and I've
Yeah.
gotten a lot of crap from a lot of people because, you know, that during that time period where I was in it every single day, that's not because it was like this. That's not a car you want to drive every day. It's like more of a show car. And I'm like, no, this is a street car. You kind of, it takes away from that wild feeling on the weekend. I said, well, what do you think they did in '73? They didn't say, oh, I'm going to just drive it on the weekend. They had 100 and something horsepower, but still, you know, I'm not just gonna drive it on the weekend. I mean, asking me to, like, do I get tired of driving this car is asking me like if I get tired of breathing. You know, you have to really love your car to really be in tune with it. Like these days, I find any and every excuse to get in it. We're getting low on eggs. I'm in it and going to the grocery store. You know, we got strawberries and pineapples are getting low for smoothies. Okay, I'll be right back. Give me a second. You know, any excuse I can to just kind of get in and clear my mind. That's definitely what I feel these cars were made for. And I fell in love with it because when I first bought it, the back seats sat up higher than the front seats. So it almost had like that movie theater style to it when you look inside. And I kind of I'm like, man, and then I did my research on it. I'm like, damn, people were really looking like using this car for multi-purpose. You know, movies. I have yet to go to the drive-in in it. You know, I had to bring probably like a spare battery or something just in case. You know, better to, you know, be safe than sorry. But and I started doing my homework on it, and this is another reason. Everybody say, "Oh, I seen a car like yours," and I said, "Are you sure?" This square back window. I am so in love with this square back window, you guys. It's ridiculous. This square back window sets off the tone for me for every Nova. I feel from the '60s to this year. You know, once the silhouette of this car is next to none for me. And I know you guys feel the same way. Like the curves in it are just phenomenal.
Yeah, I love that too, man. And honestly, I mean, I don't get me wrong, I love all Novas. But the 73, 74 is kind of like, you know, black sheep, you know, or whatever you want to call it. But
Mm-hmm.
I really dig the different, you know, types of it and everything. And you're right. I mean, back in the day, like they drove these things that's all they had, you know, in 73, 74 when they came out, you know, that people were still dealing with older cars and stuff, but that was the new thing of the time. So yeah, I mean, they were certainly built to just go, you know, and
Yes.
that's great. I love that part about them too. I was gonna say, were you thinking about switching out the wheels whenever you do the paint on it, or are you gonna keep the same wheels on it?
It People are in awe when they see the wheel, and a lot of people tell me that's like the widest that they've seen without having a mini tub on a Nova. I want to keep the wheels. The color that I'm gonna go with on the wheels is gonna be like I like the all brush look. as far as the actual lip and everything as well. So I believe it's like I have a really good picture of it. It's like a bronze almost. I first seen it at SEMA 2015. It had like a brown and a bronze mix on a newer Camaro. It was a Hearst Camaro. I don't know if you guys have ever seen it. It's a newer body Hearst Camaro, and it had like a brown and bronze wheel to it. I'm gonna keep the wheels. What's funny thing is, check the wheel out. And when I ordered, I wasn't even thinking. I just wanted a different steering wheel because I had a Grant steering wheel before. My old Grant steering wheel went straight across. And when I bought this, I wasn't even thinking that it almost kind of matched the wheels. So certain things are I'm gonna go for more of a timeless look now on the next go round. I wanted to go candy brandy wine with an all forest green interior. Can dig it. Kind of, I like the way he does things, and I'm trying to put this car another 10 years ahead without, overkill. But
yeah,
we'll see though, because it's so many different color tones, so many different colors out there. I get lost all the time, and that's why I got to stay off the internet sometimes, because I can get a little carried away.
I just really love seeing cars that had those custom little details like yours is, man. Like it has, something that sets it apart from the rest. It's not like every other Nova out there, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on the Zoom meeting, is because when we have people come on the group, and it's not like I still have the 16-inch rallies from a Chevelle on mine, and 15s, and people want to see, like, okay, what would my car look like if I were to put 20s on them? Will it fit? Do I have enough room for the tire? And you're a prime example of that. So I definitely wanted to have you on here, so that way we could show people, it's not just one-sided affair. It's not like, specific, like we have Pierce in the group. Yeah. But there's also other people out there that want to put their car in a different direction, and that's okay to do so. You don't have to go by the blueprint every single time of what a muscle car should look like. But yeah, I love it, man. It's a great looking car, especially for, I didn't know you had it for 10 years. I thought you just had it just for the last few years, but that's awesome. I mean, that's great. It looks awesome. So what else do you want to chat on about it? Like that, how does that 850 feed that 383? Does it feed it pretty good?
You know what? It's a little overkill for this motor, honestly, because it's only putting 350 to the wheels. But this top end is something that I could, if I don't get rid of it as a package deal, and take to my next motor.
Yeah.
Because the 850 for this one is just crazy. Like, it dumps so much fuel. That's why I had to get the sump welded onto the newer tank, the new is it OER, I believe it was, or something like that, like a stock replacement tank for these cars.
I think it's OER. I think so.
I had to get the sump on there. That thing is dumping fuel like it's just crazy. But I love it though, Holly. And I'm thinking about also going Pro Charge. I have a buddy that has an 88 Camaro has an F2 Pro Charger, 23-degree small block. And I kind of have to backpedal sometimes, because power is very addicting. And when you're around it, you become a product of it. And with this car, this car the way it looks, it might not be for everybody, because I know it's a lot of people out there who still want to keep that originality to it and still kind of want to put it as stock as possible. But me, I'm going for a more pro touring look. And this is also another feature that's going to get put on. I got an 8-inch plexiglass that I'm going to put on the actual tail. And
nice.
Yeah, so I got to get some holes drilled into it, but I wanted to go 8 inches. I mocked out a template and took it to Welch's Plastic, and they got me right. But the pro touring look is where my heart has always been. The first time I just seen autocross and the way the cars were set up, I fell in love with that look, and I said, I want that for the street, something that I can get in all the time with low maintenance, to where I don't have to check rockers and stuff every day, because I want the power, but I still want to be more street, How did I get this thing to pass smog? The world may never know, but it was a game. I had to go back through the carburetor and everything, but it was a game keeping it in the green,
Yeah.
Yeah, as
Sometimes
far
it
as
is, man. I mean, even with that, some of them do. So let me ask you this. Have you thought about suspension upgrades? Because I noticed you had some stock um, uppers and lowers on that thing. Are you thinking about
Mhm.
suspension upgrades and maybe putting it on an autocross track one day? Or what are your ambitions towards that?
Yeah, I definitely want to see what she'll do out there. I've You know what's crazy? I couldn't make up my mind. At one point, I had everything Calvert underneath, but I wasn't sure back then if I wanted to go with Calvert. So I got rid of that, and I'm like, okay, I keep seeing Ride Tech. I think I want to go Ride Tech. I keep doing my homework on a lot of these autocross cars to see what their suspension is like for handling and whatnot. Ride Tech or Calvert. So one of the two. But as far as like the upper and lower control arms, I still have yet to change those. I have a set of BMR springs on the front. That's what got it to drop down pretty good. New shocks, new ball joints, like everything's brand new up front. It's just that I have to get the rear to kind of start cooperating with me at this point.
Yeah.
But I want to stay manual. So it's a plethora of stuff that I have to change. I still like all this is still stock as of right now, you know. But March performance, front serpentine. Uh, I have Ron right here that I still have to install as well. I got a Ron Davis radiator that I have to put in, and it's certain upgrades that I've been doing that I haven't been able to get to as of yet. But I'm like, okay, well, I just want to ride her out now. Just get in it every day and just kind of enjoy this car for what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. I
You
remember
know,
we were talking back and forth whenever you're going through your fuel issues and everything. And I'm like, man, I can't wait for you to get it on the road. And it's just so good to see it out there. I mean, especially if I think you mentioned what, 3 or 4, how long was it down for? Like 4 years?
four almost 5 years. Yeah, four almost five.
Oh man, that would have me itching bad. That's time where you can do like, like the upgrade in the radiator or some other type of stuff like that and everything. But yeah, man, it's certainly, oh, it's so nice.
All
I
that
do.
time, all that time, I'll be honest with you, I fell out of love with the car. As much as I love her, I fell completely out of love with her. The more it sits, the busier you are, the more you don't have time for it to get puts on the back burner. And I just kind of just was like, and then I just had some stock 15-inch Camaro wheels on it, like, and I kind of, it took away from the car a lot. Now
Yeah.
I'm gonna post pictures for everybody to see. Back then, I had 22s on the car, crazy stock suspension. This car rode like crap, but I loved it though. I got wiser. I said, okay, too many problems. Tires, I had a tire issue up front too as well. My tires were rubbing on the inside, so they were, getting down to the wire about a couple times a month. I got tired of paying $150 for a tire every month, But now I get myself in a different predicament, and I'm 275 30-20 in the rear, but the rim is by 12. And I'm 245 30-20 up front, and it's by 10. So I had to get the tire stretched. Another obstacle for me right there. So if something was to ever happen to these Toyo Proxies, I know I'm gonna be in for it again.
Yeah.
But you really have to pay to play with these cars. So it's
That's
definitely
true.
an investment.
That's very true, man. You got to pay to play. That's for sure. I remember vaguely what were chrome and red, the 22s.
Yeah, they were a face wheel. I kind of got that look from Florida. Florida's kind of been ahead of the car game for a long time as far as paint and rims and everything. So I kind of geared my focus over there. And it was a face wheel, and it was the same color as the actual paint of the car and chrome. And I had the bench seat. So I'll be posting, like I said, a lot of those pictures, from back then to the transformation to now. It's slight, but then it's major at the same time, because I was on the column, then I went to the floor just recently and, stuff like that. But after driving manual valve body, I don't think I want to go back automatic ever again. I've
Yeah.
kind of gotten myself to a point to where I'm hooked on the manual valve body, and there's nothing wrong with
Well, I've
automatic,
noticed.
but
I've noticed in your videos. What's the shift? What's the shift like? Like, tell me about when you're driving. Is it down? Is it up? Or how does it work with that shifter and everything? Because I see manually manually looking like you're shifting it, but I know it wasn't a manual thing.
Yeah, it's a reverse pattern. So I'm up top at 1 and I'm shifting down at 3. And you can kind of hear and also feel. I still have to hook my shift light up. So it's little things that I still have to do. You can kind of almost hear about when it needs to, but you can also feel it as well. So if the car's almost getting to that point to where it's like, okay, I'm not, then you have to just slap it into the next gear and it'll go. So it's really like a feeling that you feel. I was stressing so bad about that. I said, I don't even know how to drive a stick. Am I gonna know when to shift? I don't want to mess up the transmission, and I'm just putting it in the car. I was putting too much on myself. I was beating myself for pretty much nothing.
What would you say would be the biggest rim that you'd put? Would you stay at 20 and not go over 20 with put them on the Nova? I mean, you got experience with the 22s, 20s, 16s, and I don't know what else you had on it, but that's what I've heard so far. What would be your I guess your advice for any future builders with our Novas, as far as I wouldn't go over X size wheel. What would you say?
A 20. A 20 is perfect for this car. You even go to SEMA. I don't know if you guys ever been to SEMA out here, but you look at some of these cars have 18s on them and they're tucked right over the top of them. You're like, dang, an 18 looks that good tucked. So I feel a 20 is in that, it's like that happy medium. I want to say a 20 is perfect for anybody that wants to go bigger. 20 is like, to me, a cutoff. I chat with SS Sean a lot, Team HHP, and he has a 20 on his Chevelle. It's and you've probably seen a lot of cars with his paint scheme. It's black, orange, and silver. It's a tri colored paint, and he has a set of 20s on his car, and I like the aggressive look with the 20. I love the offset, and when I do put drag radials on it, I'm gonna go with Nitto. So 20 is like the perfect, and it's a lot of different tire options, tread patterns that you can go with 20s, but 20s for sure. Nothing bigger, nothing less.
David Williams just said he's been to SEMA 4 times and this year was canceled. But I've never gotten the pleasure to get out there. I generally open it up to everybody as far as if anybody got any questions for you or anything like that. So both David, Sarah, Tim, anybody else want to say something or ask Kevin a question, go ahead and shoot it.
I have a question. I love your freaking headliner. How did you get the material to stay up there?
I give all the praise to the guys who did it. After they put hands to it, it kind of just, it's tucked in. Can you see it?
Yes.
Yeah, it's tucked in pretty good. So with the ostrich kind of holding it in place, you see the rivet right here, and all the way through. So really, it's really being held up pretty precise by all of this here. It wasn't too bad. When you take it to an upholstery shop, I can actually send you pictures as far as like my headliner and everything, so you can have something to go off of. You know what I mean? Because
that would be great.
Different. I appreciate that. Man, it's when you you gotta have something to go off of to get somebody else to understand, okay, what it is that you're really trying to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, and your pieces are yours leather as well?
No, they're not leather. I wish.
Okay. Yeah, okay. I mean, this is right here, and I can send you pictures of every fine detail. Screws missing here, and as far as here. But yeah, it's nothing too crazy though. And they're also in the back as well to hold up. So I can send you videos as well, so you have more, to show when you get to that point.
Yes, please. I'd greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, most definitely. And I'd love to see what everybody has too, as far as all the different steps where you guys are planning on going. I plan on being a part of these Zoom meetings from here on out. Now that I'm, featured in this one, I can't wait to see, what we have. We're all Nova families. We're Nova brothers and Nova sisters. You know what I mean? Like it's a Nova thing.
That's
That's what I tell people.
You're exactly right about that, Kevin. You couldn't be any truer there. The now, if you look through our group, one of our admins, Kim, I think I may be wrong. David, correct me if I'm wrong here. I don't know who set up the topics. They have topics set up to where you go into right up under the main picture page, and you can scroll through the little words and click on topics. I'm not sure if we have one for headliners. That might be something we'll have to check into and see, but it really doesn't look like you have too many sags in that thing, man. I know a lot of times when people do their own headliners, and David put in there earlier that 3M adhesive spray. I have a few cans of that sitting right up there in my little. I don't really see too many sags in there at all, which I mean, like you said, it's a testament to the people that did it. When these guys pin them in, I mean, ain't no telling how long these guys have been doing that particular job, whether it's headliners or paint or body or whatever the case. But yeah, that's pretty awesome. So let me ask you this: are you going to be going lower with the car? Because you did mention something about the rear end earlier, and possibly doing something. Are you thinking maybe going lower in the suspension, or what? Like, what are you thinking with that?
Coilovers. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna do QA1s, front and rear. Maybe a relocation bar. So when I shorten my rear end, I want my shocks to sit in the inside. So that way, if I do, since it's a 3-piece wheel, if I wanted to get a little more lip in the back, I could push it in without having any problems.
Yep. Yeah, man. I'm serious. I love that car to death. It looks great. I mean, I know a lot of people are like, oh, you shouldn't do this to old muscle and you shouldn't do that. But to be honest, like for me, your whole car just works. Like the way it looks, the color scheme, the way the wheels are that you have on there. I personally like the darker wheels over the chrome and red, even though I thought they did look good. The 22s that you had on there before. That that's pretty cool how you mentioned earlier, you kind of got it to where the steering wheel and the rims are, together, kind of matching in that way. Grant makes a great steering wheel, and they go in line with that Pro Tour, in which you were talking about earlier too.
In the
Looks like
22s, I need to upgrade my gearbox, and it's a lot of. So if any of you guys have any suggestions on a good gearbox I can go with, I still need to, put more fuses in and kind of get everything working. I would love a horn. I don't know if anybody has a horn that works, but look, when I say everything is stock still here, everything is still stock, from the lights to just everything. So, and then I do one day have plans on going vintage air, so I can get rid of this old mess right here.
yeah,
But that's just one thing I'm just not ready for. I have separation issues with this car, and the level of trust you learn with your eyes and with your ears. I hear about so many people whose cars have gotten this done to it and that done to it. I'm kind of like on edge to take it anywhere and let it sit. But I mean, I guess I can kind of relax now because, proof of videos and receipts, Haggerty's got my back. So if you guys have or don't have Haggerty, please do, because that is a very, very, very good investment to have.
yeah, yeah. It's definitely important to have a good insurance company have your back on these cars because, I mean, especially nowadays when you got so much work into. I mean, somebody can have 20 grand into an engine alone, not even counting the transmission, especially with some of the builds that we see coming and that we have. Like our last Zoom meeting, there's no telling what Craig had under. I mean, with that turbo and stuff like that, which leads me to my next question. You did say 406, but do you ever see yourself going LS?
Never.
Never.
I tell people that this is an LS just to get a kick from them, but I'm a conventional guy. I'm still young. I was born in '88, but my heart is in the past. Our engine builder believes, and he's going to build the next motor, so you guys will kind of be able to see. Why would I need to go to a big block, and no disrespect to a big block or an LS, if my small block can do that and more? Now, I've seen a 350 that he's built go 8s.
Woo.
I'm just saying. I've seen the 350 that he built go 8s. So I'm not saying he's the best engine builder, but coming out of Idaho, he knows what he's doing. And small block guy for life. I love that high RPM sound when you get on them, and
Yep.
It's nothing like a small block. A small block sounds so different from an LS. They have more of a low. Like when you hear a Corvette, you either know it's a Corvette or a Camaro. They all have pretty much the same sound. I'm staying conventional, and to everybody that does have an LS, I take nothing away from it. It's a newer technology. I just don't like when you ask people, why are you LS? Like, what made you go LS? And they kind of don't really know what to say. It's reliable. You make a lot of bolt-on power. I don't like getting out smelling like gas. That's the main thing with these old motors. You get out smelling like gas. I love the smell of 100 octane. I don't know about you guys, but I love the smell of 100 octane.
It does smell good, that's for sure. Especially when you start getting a little bit higher, like 110.
Oh yeah,
that's a good smell right there for sure. You got a comment from David Williams about LS being the way to go, and a lot of people are going that route. And you can throw fuel injected on, like Dave has, or he had. I'm sure, I don't know if he plans on continuing with his EFI setup, but you could throw that EFI on there and have the fuel mileage and all the play and everything. But I'm the same way, man. I got that 3-3 stroker in there, and I'm not changing it anytime soon. The only thing I would change is probably throwing like maybe some turbos or a Pro Charger on it or something. But
another thing too, you guys, with like a lot of these guys who are doing these SEMA builds and these $300,000 plus builds, just tap in with them and kind of pick their brains. There's so many people that I've called Quick Performance so many times, they almost kind of know me by voice now. Like it's just so many. I have to build myself up to spend a certain amount of money. Like I have to really go back and forth with myself. Is it worth it? Do I really need it? Is it good for right now? Like I like to see my money, so that's why I love buying car parts. I'd rather go buy, like on my next purchase, a rear end versus paying my cell phone bill every month. But that's just kind of like how my mind is with it. I love it that much. But pick these guys' brain. Robert over at Rides by Cam. If you guys follow his page, Rides by Cam, his son Cooper, their Nova. Robert, he had a Nova, he sold it, but Cooper still has a yellow Nova. They're beautiful, man. And granted, they do their own work, but I like to kind of just keep in touch with people, just to kind of, if I'm lost in a certain area, it's better to go to somebody that has almost a similar formula as you, to get that further extensive knowledge,
Anybody else got any more questions? I know we got to be cutting. What are we looking like on time right now, Dave?
Yeah, we're good. Keep going. I'm really enjoying listening to you guys. I just wanted to mention to Keith, I've got 3 horns in my car, so if you need some help wiring up one, I can help you out. I'm like you, old school. I love my small block Chevys. No disrespect to the LSs or the big blocks. It's just what I know. It's what I'm comfortable with. And yeah, in my new motor, I still will go with the Holley Sniper fuel injection. It's a great system, and it was my fault the last motor blew up. It had nothing to do with the fuel injection system, and that's all I got.
Man, so the Holley Sniper, man, that Sniper, man, I've been eyeing that as well.
I love it. Yeah. Worth the money. Yeah, and I got just the simple Holley Sniper EFI Master Kit, which had the fuel pump. I installed it just like their install video on a plate in front of the gas tank. Mm-hmm. And then I got the dual sync distributor. So it's just a simple ignition. You don't need no fancy multi-spark stuff. Just good and simple. And man, I love it. And also on my 406, when I was running 12.2s with it, I was only running a 650 double pumper for a carb.
What?
I think 850 is way overkill for sure.
Oh my goodness. A 650? Oh yeah. So oh man, the power level that we have out here in Vegas is really scary, for them to be street cars still. And I get lost a lot of the time. So you got to kind of ask yourself, what do you want to do with the car? And that'll give you the horsepower, point that you want to go with. But I've always been told it's better to overbuild,
Except for
overbuild a little bit.
You don't want to go too big on the carb, because if you go too big on the carb, that will actually hurt you. But that's what I liked about the Holley Sniper. It dictates that all out by itself. You can change it if you want to add more fuel and override it. You can give it your own fuel table. other than that, that was the best thing I ever did. And even the difference on the dyno between a 650 and a 750 was only 7 horsepower at the rear wheel.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
What kind of fuel mileage, David, what kind of fuel mileage were you seeing once you switched over to the EFI? Did you notice a big difference?
Oh my God, the money I have saved on fuel and spark plugs is ridiculous. Because I was always fouling spark plugs. I think I was lucky to be getting maybe 4 to 5 miles per gallon with the 650 or the 750 on the car. When I went to the Holly Sniper, my last calculation was 10.4 miles per gallon. And I had never calculated highway driving. But I also only have 342 gears.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kevin, that's something I was going to ask you too do you know what gearing you're running in the back?
I don't. This stock 10 volt, I don't know. I don't know. Whatever it is, stock is what it is as of right now.
It could be a 273 or a 308, but you know what? We can help you decode that axle. No problem. We can. Oh, I might as well do it now because if somebody's watching this, if you get underneath the car on the right side, on the right tube in front of the wheel there should be a code. Take a look at that code and then go to novaresource.org. There's a thing on the left side that says axle codes. Run the axle code number and it'll tell you. Or another way is to jack up the car and turn the wheel and count how many times the drive shaft turns. And there's a couple ways we can figure that out for you.
Okay, great. I'm definitely going to take heed to that. So if you maybe see me with a Holly Sniper down the road, don't be surprised because I love what I'm hearing about it. And the crazy thing is when I installed my new gas tank, I don't think that a connection was right. So my speedometer is no longer working. So when I fill up with this racing fuel, I know about how far around the city I can get to and from, without having to. But she does pretty good on gas. I won't lie. But at $8 a gallon, what are you running, David?
I was running Husky 92 and 94 in my car, and Canadian gas prices. I was paying $1.20 a liter, so that would be almost $4.80 a gallon.
Okay.
Yeah.
This $8 a gallon is killing me in this car, man.
And that's just good old Canadian money and tax up the wazoo and all that. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's one thing that
ain't cheap.
The racing fuel hits you on the tail end, and that's why people only drive them so often, because I complain about the $8 a gallon versus people I know that are spending $20 a gallon on Q16. So I guess I can kind of say I'm happy with $8 a gallon, I'm
not trying to say that the Holly Sniper is the way to go. Definitely take a look at the Phytech system and the Edelbrock system. I don't want to poison you by saying, Holly. Holly is what I've had experience with, and I've had very good experience with it. So that's why I say Holly, but I don't want to take away from Phytech or Edelbrock or any of those other guys. So make sure you do, shop around a little.
Yeah, a lot of it comes down to preference as well. That's why all these different, brands and stuff are made. They all work, like from shocks and springs, like they all work. It's, it depends on what you're doing with the car to get the best you just really want to buy the best of what you're doing. That's all it really boils down to. What is going to work for what I'm doing, so that way you don't have to go and get big boy stuff if you don't need it, you can get whatever your car is asking for.
And that's another thing I try to tell people too is spend the money on quality parts now because it'll be cheaper in the long run.
Bite the bullet once and be done with it.
Yeah. You guys couldn't be any truer in those statements right there. That's for sure.
Yeah. But I mean, I've been trying to turn into my own cameraman lately. So
nice. Well, is there anything else you want to show us on the car, Kevin?
I got a question if y'all don't mind.
Go ahead.
I'd kind of like to hear about the jumps, the hoops, and all that stuff you got to deal with on smog and whatnot.
This old Nova is gonna rev like a 07 Lexus, So by getting it to stay like a quarter in, I had to look on the screen and kind of balance it to keep it in the green and hold it there. But with the cam and the car's doing whatever it wants to do, it's going up and it's fluctuating down. Like if I let off, it goes too far down. If I press on it a little bit, it goes way above the green. So basically $120 later. And
when you pass, is it kind of like you're 16 again? You just got your license. You're like, let's go.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a breath of fresh air. Just because you're like, if I don't get this thing to pass, I won't be able to drive it.
Yeah.
Get a good car that runs, put it on, get it to pass smog, pay it, and you're done. Now, it was a completely different ball game with this car. That's the only way I've been on the road was that type of smog. So when I had to play with it on the trailer, I'm like, damn, this car's running like crap. And I had to take timing out of it. It was just too much. So I had to get it back into timing, and that was a pain.
My uncle, he lived out in Apple Valley, and he had a diesel, and so he had to like take stuff off, put it back onto stock, go get it, whatever. Then once he passes, come back, and then put all the go fast stuff back on it, kind of thing.
Yeah. Another gentleman I just ran into that he has a 73 as well. He told me to put a quadrajet onto the car when going to get it smog. He said put a quadrajet on it and it'll be fine. But I'm like, I don't know. I just don't. It's all new to me. I'm having a lot of firsts with this car this time around. When I sold my old 350 and transmission together, I felt like I've been rebuilding the whole car ever since. So I'm running into a lot of firsts with this car, having to take stock bushings off. It's like things like that. Like I don't know. The aftermarket stuff, they make it so much easier for you with everything that you do. And I kind of want to give you guys a little, before we do actually end it, like a brief little sound of what it sounds like.
We love having people fire off the rides for us, man.
And it's a garage built car, no shop. You take a look at the space I built it in, you'll say, are you kidding me?
That sounds good, man. It really does.
Thank you. She's pretty healthy. I couldn't be more happy with her.
Is that a steel hood that you have on there?
Oh no, I got this from Unlimited Racing.
Uh-huh.
So this is this is a product of their stuff. But it's still more stuff. Like another thing too, I've never dealt with the Street Fire before. The Street Fire is actually really good. I had to put a different overflow tank on this car this time by Racing Power Company. They make good stuff. Permacool for the tranny cooler. Not too much going on. Willwood. I'm stuck between Willwood and Bear Brakes. To go to that I want to go with. I mean, she's sliding drilled now, but I'm still, gonna upgrade the rotors and everything, on the next go round. But
do you have discs in the back, or are you still running the drums back there?
I'm still drum. I am still drum for now.
Yeah.
And I still have my old jack. Do you guys have your old jacks? That's another thing I wanted to know from everyone.
No, I can't say that I do. Look at how you like that.
I have my old jack, and it's actually still screwed in the back of the car.
Yeah,
I have mine.
In both of my cars. Yep.
I have mine, but it wouldn't work because it's rusted. But we're keeping it just for sentimental value.
Oh yeah.
I would never use it. I would never use it, but it's a nice showpiece in the back of the car.
Yeah, people are always like, "Why do you have these? What are these for? What are these holes for back here?" And I'm like, well, let me show you. And then I start jacking it up. I wanted to get another one just for keepsake. I seen somebody selling one. I think I'm going to actually grab it. And another thing I'm going to do is paint this old thing the next color of the car as well. So it will no longer be blue. Its original color. It'll be candy, brandy wine, or whatever I choose to go with. But
nice.
These things actually really, they work great too. On top for that security, on having the car locked, on top of jacking it up. Yeah, this new motor and tranny was built in such a small space. From this, pretty much really, this right here is all that I've done with this car as far as new gas tank, just everything, wheels, motor and tranny. Like I haven't had like a crazy workspace to get everything done. So people look at it and they're like, dang, you really had a box to work with. But when I said coronavirus helped, I honestly want to thank coronavirus for coming out because it allowed me to channel my energy into finishing the Nova, getting it done. It kept me positive. I figure I won't change because of what's going on. My mental therapy here. And also, I'm an essential oil wellness advocate as well. So if you guys know about essential oils from doTERRA, they work.
Well, that's cool, man. Hey, does anybody else got anything for Kevin or any other questions or anything?
I think I have to apologize. I think I called you Keith earlier when I was asking my question, not Kevin. I apologize for that.
Oh, it's okay.
I was close.
It is quite all right. Another K won't hurt. But yeah, you guys will definitely be seeing a lot more with this car as far as like the upgrades coming. I plan on flooding the actual. I've kind of been trying to save as far as how I post, like from the actual little mini photo shoot I did with it, 1 picture a day. But I'm having fun with this car, so I really want you guys to see that these cars really can be on the road as much as you want them to. You know,
You're exactly right. If they have the good build on them, I mean, there's no limit to where or how far you can drive them. As long as you can keep feeding it fuel, like you can go as long as you want to, man. That's for sure. So, do you just throw racing fuel in it just for every now and then, or do you normally do pump gas or like what?
I tried to put 91 from Chevron in it, but like when I first, got the motor running and what was uncapped still, it was and another thing too, before I touch back on the racing fuel, having the car uncapped is dangerous. I didn't even want to start the car. It was so loud. So loud.
Yeah.
These ceramic coated headers from Summit, they are amazing. But the racing fuel, that's what this motor was dynoed with. So it's kind of like that's almost what it wants. If the car runs like crap with 91, and I'm thinking I'm putting V power in it, I'm putting good gas in it, but the car runs and it lets me know she doesn't want that. She's an expensive girl, so she wants what she wants.
What compression is that motor?
That I don't know. I know the compression is low, but it's a mystery still for even me. Okay. I haven't gone back through it yet, just because like I got such a good deal on it. And when the car that I got it out of was a 3rd gen Camaro, and he didn't bring the car out. So it was just really just to move it from shop to shop. And I ended up getting it from him for a really good deal. So, and this is my first piece of horsepower to get my feet wet, to kind of respect horsepower. So that way, once I do get the rear end on, and I know it's going to be day and night by the way it performs, but I just kind of want to see what it feels like to know how much further I want to go with the horsepower, if that makes sense.
It's like you say, it's a drug. Like I've gone through, this is going to be motor number 5 that I'm going to be putting in. And I originally started with a 352 barrel, and then a 350 with the 4 barrel and a cam. And then my first 406 was mild. And then the last 406 was a lot of fun. And then my next motor is going to be even more fun. So it's like you say, it's an addiction. You always want a little bit more. And one thing you mentioned earlier is you daily drive yours and all that. You look for any excuse to drive it. I'm the same way with mine, man. Between April and October, when the weather's nice, I have that Nova out as much as possible. And yeah, and I drive it like I have fun. I beat the snot out of it. I enjoy my car.
I'm on the freeway. I'm driving 30, 40 minutes around the city, even in traffic. And then too, if you guys have seen, I don't have a shroud on this car. And the hottest it gets is, I want to say like 210. And then of course, once I start back circulating, it gets back down to like 195-ish, but I still don't like to see anything over 200, and that's just kind of like that 4 or 5 o'clock traffic, and you kind of really don't have anywhere to go. The lights are green longer, so you're sitting a lot longer,
Yeah, same here. I like mine runs about 190, 195, but I have a shroud on my electric fan. I'm running the Flexolite 188, which has a built-in shroud. And I don't like mine getting up over 200 either. And very rarely does it get up that high, in the hot heat here in Winnipeg. The
only thing is, if I put too much coolant in it, and it'll spray out of this hole for sure. And since it has like a little dip as of right here in the hood, it'll start to spray out. But I kind of got it to where I know where to fill it to now. So, but the only issue I ever worry about is the temperature. You know, but I know as soon as I get cooking and the weather's getting a lot better, so it'll cool down a hell of a lot faster. So, you know.
One thing I do too in Winnipeg here when we're like 40 degrees Celsius, I don't know what that is your temperature Fahrenheit. I can't calculate that fast. But what I actually do in the summertime when it's super hot, I actually drive with the heat on in the car just to make sure that the engine temperature stays down. And there's some days, man, I get out of the car and it's like in the plus 30s and 40s, and I actually get a chill because it was so hot in the car. Outside. Oh yeah, the things we do, man, it's funny.
I call it 270, 2 windows down at 70 miles an hour.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's what you call doing a 270.
That's the AC is what.
Oh yeah, and the hottest I've really gotten this to, it was 115 out here. In the dry heat here, there's no moisture anywhere, so that when it's hot, it's stale hot, stale. But I had to see what it did, you know. But I've really been enjoying this car. So a lot of the times when you see me post the pictures, and as often as I do, I don't like to kind of oversaturate, you know, with everything. But I drive her often. And another thing I was gonna do was make another series on people talking to me about the car. I can't catch everything because I'm not always in record mode, but I have been on my other page, and I was gonna turn it into like a series of, oh man, you don't understand, man. You don't understand. You just don't get it. And I'm like, what do you mean? Oh man. And everybody has a Nova story. That either your grandma had one, your grandfather, your mother or father, you know, and people, you know, from a certain time, they grew up in the backseat of those cars, you know, being driven everywhere by their parents or grandparents. So I love the love these cars get. You know, I love the old history it brings. And these old muscle cars are timeless.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you don't, and it separates yourself from everything else on the road. I'm driving past new 2018 BMWs broke down on the side of the road. I'm like, dang, this 73 is still cooking, you know? I'm just like, Jesus. Everything newer is always, but these cars they don't let you down. But when they do, it's pretty serious, but they don't let you down too often. You take care of it, it'll be better to you.
That's right. Yeah, you take care of your car, it's going to take care of you. You got that right. That's for sure, man.
And I definitely I love and respect and I'm so thankful that you guys have created this group, you know, for all of us to kind of be a part of, because I didn't know it existed until I started using Facebook more. And I'm like, okay, there's Nova groups. I mean, let me join and I can kind of maybe see stuff that, you know, I have questions about that I can't ask my buddies because they have F bodies and G bodies, you know?
Yeah.
So very appreciative, very grateful for your time with you guys today. And I can't wait to see, you know, what's in the post from here on out from everybody.
And that's another thing for anybody watching. You know, your car doesn't have to be, you know, perfect mint, all that other stuff. Like, you know, high dollar race car. It can be in the midst of it being built. It don't matter to us. We just want to see it. That's kind of the whole thing about why David Williams and I were talking about this months back. And he was like, yeah, I'm kind of familiar with it. I do it with my school and stuff like that with the kids and all. I'm like, man, maybe we should do something with the Novas so that way everybody can show their car off and we can kind of put, you know, you hear the saying, put a face to the name. Well, it's time to put, you know, like a face to the Nova, because we always see the cars, but we never get the chance to talk to the members or the owners or anything like that one-on-one, or sorry, not one-on-one, but face-to-face via, you know, like this whole Zoom video interface chat and all that stuff. I want to continue doing this. So yeah, anybody watching this, definitely take heart. I appreciate your time tonight, Kevin. I really enjoyed having you on here. And everybody that joined in, both Davids as usual, Tim Cox, and we got Sarah, of course, was on. Again, thanks for your time, Kevin. Thanks for showing your car. Is beautiful, man, and I'm sure anything you do in the future with it is going to probably have the. Are you wanting to kind of see that? You want to keep that same pinstripe thing kind of deal, or
even if
thinking?
I love this because it brings out the curves in the car. You know, it really shows the body line. If
Yeah.
I do anything else, the color tones will be either from the brakes or something to do, with the interior color, just to kind of just dissect, the whole vibe again. I really love the way the pinstripes came out on this car. My old stock hood had the pinstripes going down about here on it. And the one last thing I want to say to you guys, from whatever stage you guys' cars are at, embrace the imperfections. I've embraced the imperfections, the nicks, the dings in this car so much. There's nothing anyone can tell me about my car that's going to upset me, because I know I drive this car. You get what I mean? Like, I really drive
Yeah.
this car. So like I said, it's a project in progress. And when you do have projects, you shouldn't drive them too much. But I'm going to do the exact opposite, So you're going to continue to see more pictures from me, more videos, and more conversations from people,
Yep. Oh, we love that. David says this all the time. We love pictures. So
Yeah,
you
keep
can
them
never
coming.
post too many. Yeah, keep them coming, man. For sure.
So definitely, if you guys do happen to see it, I actually am going to post more pictures, from the 22s back to when I had stocks, my old B&M shifter, because I had the Magnum grip shifter at first, the old steering wheel. So basically, you guys will be able to see a little bit of the old setup, my old 3 Series BMW seats that I had in it when I took my bench seat out. They kind of had my head like this far away from the ceiling. I had to get rid of those. I had to, but you guys will definitely be seeing some good visuals of the car.
And for everybody that joined us tonight, thank you for being on the show and everything, and engaging and asking Kevin questions and stuff. It certainly makes this a lot better. Everybody talking, and it kind of sort of helps everybody get to know one another, and it makes it a little bit better for our group as well. So again, I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Likewise. Thank you guys, all of you.